Hello everyone, welcome back to Psychedelica of the Ashen. My name is Mousy, and we are just getting through with an unsavory dinner date with our old found family. And now we're heading back to the tower. So far, I'd have to say this is a pretty funny game in its own way. Hope you guys are enjoying it. So let's continue. All right. It's starting to snow. I'd better hurry. It seemed to take longer than usual to cross the town and arrived at the forest. I tried not to think about anything while I made my way quickly back to the tower.
返せよ！離せ！うるせえっつってんだろこのクソガキが！
Oh, no, not on my watch.
ギャーギャーうるせえな。こんな小汚ねえウサギがそんなに大事なのかよ。
Oh, you better not. A loud noise startled me out of the silence of the night. It was the sound of a fight breaking out. It was rare for people to be out here at this hour. Was that voice of a child? I think I've heard it somewhere before. Oh no, is it the thief?
ウサギを離せ！人のものは盗んでも自分のものは取られたくねえってか。こんな小汚ねえウサギ頼まれたって欲しくはねえが。だったらまあ多少は腹の足しにはなるか。皮を剥いで丸焼きにして。
Ooh, boy, you better drop that thing and leave before I get in there. Oh, look at the cute little rabbit.
やめろ！そのウサギは食べ物なんかじゃない！
I mean, it kind of is, but this is a pet, not just an animal.
育ちの悪いガキにはお仕置きが必要だしな。
No, you shouldn't be doing that. That's terrorizing.
大事にしてるウサギが食われたらてめえも少しは人様の気持ちがわかんだろ。この
What are you doing?
なんだお前邪魔する気か。
That depends.
俺はこそ泥を閉めてただけだ。文句言われる筋合いはねえぜ。
Not on my watch. Thieving? Oh, you're that kid from earlier this afternoon.
泥臭い兄ちゃん。
Yes. I'm not slow. For a brief moment, I thought about not helping him, but that would be immature. Yeah, that would be. I mean, considering there's a life at stake here. This boy was, without a doubt, the thief that got away from me earlier today. The man, on the other hand, was grabbing what appeared to be the boy's pet rabbit by the ears. I could tell what kind of man he was simply from the way he was holding it. If your purpose is just to discipline a child, that's enough. Why not give it back to him?
お前にどうこう言われる筋合いはねえよ。
Sorry. Geez, this town sure has more hoodlums nowadays.
どうしてもっつうなら力ずくで奪い返してみな。お前みたいな優男にできるもんならな。
Then, don't mind if I do. I slowly reached for the sword on my hip. It wasn't something to be used carelessly, but surely it would be fine against someone like him.
やる気かよ。いい度胸じゃねえか。そっちがその気だろ。
The man reached for his weapon, and I tapped him on the forehead with the sword still still in its sheath. Yeah, there you go. Good job. If it were drawn, you would be dead. If you wish to continue, I could draw my sword this time. I can't talk today, damn it. The man flung the rabbit into the air before running away. Pussy. The boy jumped to catch it and ran into the tree. Did you steal from that man? If so, you deserved it. That doesn't make it okay for you to go stealing stuff. You don't get to say that. If it weren't for me, that rabbit would have been killed. Yeah, I'd like to see you try, dude. He tried his best to look tough with the rabbit in his arms. Though his personality might be twisted, he did seem to act his age. Nevertheless, he was still a thief. I couldn't just let him go. For starters, come with me. My home's closer to here than the town. Sounds so familiar. Who are you? You don't get to complain right now. I pointed the tip of my sword close to his face. Though it seemed immature of me, a slight threat would teach him a lesson. I'll stop if you do as I say. To be strong is to be slower. To be faster is to be a lot less strong. Hence the situation we're in. Thank you very much. Like I said, I'm not slow, and my knowledge of the sword is just one of my skills. I trained with Levon and Levi ever since we were kids. Not to sound conceited, but I knew I was at least above average. Oh yeah, what's your name? You cheeky little... I hid that thought behind a calm, mature expression. You're right about that. I'm Jeremiah. Now it's your turn. Elric. You're like Edward Elric? Alright, Elric, let's go. Put you to work? I'll keep you at my place for tonight. And in the morning, let's see. I guess I could drop you off at the church. I didn't really have a particular reason. I didn't want to turn him into the authorities since he was only a child. I thought that the church would do the most appropriate thing. What's wrong with the church? You escaped from the church, didn't you? Or an orphanage, I bet. Unless the church is the orphanage. Well, we'll do that in the morning. Come on, hurry. We need to get going before the fog thickens. Welcome to my home. It's unnecessarily big, so you're welcome to sleep wherever you want. Elric and Rabbit looked around curiously at the tower. Both of them turned their heads in the exact same way, so it looked like they were family. Like a parent and child? No, more like siblings. About that. No, the Overlord is here too. Speaking of which, he's not here today. Yeah, my master is a phantom that lives in this tower.
亡霊なんているわけないだろ。バカバカしい。
Baka. I wouldn't say that. I thought he'd at least get a little scared, but he wasn't childish in that regard, though it seemed to have an effect on the rabbit.
一応ありがとう。だから助けてくれて。
Don't be embarrassed for saying thank you, my goodness. Don't worry about it. Anyway, we need to get to sleep. I'll take you to the church first thing in the morning. He made an obviously unhappy face when I mentioned the church. I could ask about it tomorrow. Perhaps Elric and the rabbit were still restless. They kept going in and out of the tower. Now's my chance. While they were outside, I quietly went into my own room. But it was only a section of the living room that was divided by a curtain. I figured I should keep watch over him, but after what happened, I doubted he would go out into the forest again at night. In either case, I really wanted to change my clothes immediately. This really hurts. I'm about to vomit. What? I made it so that the sound would go off when the curtain is open, but I should be extra careful. I closed the curtain tightly before loosening my collar and buttons. Usually that little fight would be nothing to me, but the circumstances were different today. It had been a long time since I had a proper meal, not to mention 3 plates of Francisca's special cake. These clothes are tight to begin with, and I had to bind these. Huh? I took off my clothes and reached for my pajamas.
タラ臭い兄ちゃんじゃなくてタラ臭い姉ちゃんだったんだ。
You pervert! Huh? I turned around to see Elric there. Oh dear. What? How? He opened the door without me noticing.
音を立てずに忍び込むなんて朝飯前だよ。
Holy cow. For some reason, the rabbit was holding its head up proudly. Why was it so boastful? No, that wasn't the main problem here. This is... He saw, and he found out that I'm a woman. Only Francisca and Ashen knew my secret. And now this boy I just met.
まったく不用心だね。注意力が足りないんじゃないの？あとさ、僕は別にいいんだけど、恥ずかしくないの？下着丸出しで。
Yeah, turn around, kid. I quickly pulled the sheet from my bed to wrap around my body. Don't. I mean, please don't tell anybody about this.
今、命令しようとしなかった？
Oh, you little... you little snot. You're just hearing things.
言われたら困るの？
Well, duh. I will. I really will.
へえ、言われたら困るんだ。
He gave an evil grin. Oh no. I panicked and gave him information I shouldn't have. For a kid, he had such an evil smile.
どうしようかな。黙っててあげてもいいけど。
You want to blackmail me?
そっちこそ、さっき僕のこと脅しただろ。ねえ、なんでわざわざ男の格好してるの？
Isn't it obvious? I want to be able to work. I can't tell you.
いいの？教えてくれないと言いふらしちゃうかもよ。
You little bastard. I'd rather you do that than me explaining to you why I dress like this.
いきなり本気の顔にならないでよ。冗談だよ。言いふらしたりなんかしない。
You have a pretty deep voice for who's supposed to be a small child. Like, how old are you, dude? 9? 10? Are you sure?
本当だよ。
Thank you.
別に礼を言われることじゃないけど。さあ、行こう。
Elric left my room along with Rabbit. I wondered if he really wouldn't tell anyone. I looked down at my chest. Though conservative in size, it was pretty obvious. Having these doesn't help me at all. This is my life story. I let my guard down. Why did I change when a stranger was so close? If people found out I was a woman, they would be suspicious about why I lied about my gender. If that happened, it would cause trouble to the people that I was close to. It wasn't the red eye that was considered taboo. The fact that I was a woman was the biggest problem.
もう行くの?
Yeah, thanks for everything.
あなたのせいじゃないのに、こんな逃げるみたいに出ていくなんて。
There's no point in arguing about it. It's a fact that my eye is red. It'll be too late if I find out that I'm a witch. What? Hold on. It'll be too late if they found out that I'm a witch? I don't know.
あなたは魔女なんかじゃないわ。その右目も赤くなるだけなんでしょ?
But still, I mean... Yeah, unfortunately I have no powers. I'm sorry.
女に宿る赤い目は魔女の証。そのものは破滅をもたらす。だなんて嘘よ。
Okay, so it really is just the fact that I have a red eye, and if they found out that I was a female, their whole prediction or legend, whatever, would come to fruition. And so I would just be burned at the stake again. Unless... Was that a... Was that a foresight at the very beginning? Who knows? But... Surprisingly, it's not just so she can be able to work within the town. So, I mean... yes, it's because she's a witch with an eye. Yeah.
ごめんなさい。もっと私に力があれば、あなたを守ることができたかもしれないわね。
Francisca, you've been plenty kind to me, but I can live on my own. I don't think I could pretend to be a boy forever.
行くあてはあるの?
There are plenty of places to go outside of town. I'm sure I could find some place.
そう。
Don't be sad about it. It's not like we'll never see each other again. We live in the same town.
困ったことがあったら、絶対に戻ってきてくれる?
You really are a sweet, sweet lady. Yes.
遠慮なんてしてはダメよ。いいわね。
I know. We'll see. Well, I'll see you later, Francisca. I want to keep calling her Francesca. I don't know why. It's been 4 years since then. I felt my eye burning through my eyelid. I imagined a scene I'd seen before, but I couldn't remember the details. It could all have been just a dream. If people found out that I was a witch, all that would become a reality. It's better that I leave town before this happens. For Francisca and her family's sake too. I'd been having those thoughts recently, but I couldn't seem to make up my mind. I was born and raised in this town, so it pained me to leave the people who had treated me kindly. That was why I was still here. What should I do about Elric? It was a huge mistake that he found out I was a woman, and it would mean a lot of trouble if he spread that information around. He said he wouldn't tell anyone, but I didn't know if I could trust him. Maybe it's about time I call it quits. I mumbled my thoughts out loud. I'll talk to Elric again tomorrow. I was panicking earlier, but I'm calmer now. I need to stop thinking. Too many things happen, and it's tired me out. Speaking of which, I don't hear anything. What are Elric and the rabbit doing? I looked around the living room and saw the two of them lying on the sofa together. When you look at him like this, he's cute and all. Oh, he has 2 moles under his eye. Jeez, he looks so defenseless right now. No, I was the defenseless one that got caught off guard. When I remembered that, I started to loathe myself again. No, I shouldn't. I should just fall asleep and clear my head. Alright, here we go. I returned to my bed and closed my eyes. I'll leave what I can do tomorrow for tomorrow. Yeah. The next morning, Elric? Where are you? Elric! Oh dear. I was too naive, but then again, it was only natural once I thought about it. Elric had completely disappeared from the tower. Oh no! You better keep good on your word, man, because your word should be bond. I had to find him. I knew for sure he was in town. But where could he be? I'd better look everywhere for now. What's this? Yeah, I guess, yeah. Sure. He had to be somewhere in town, so I just needed to look around. It sounded easy, but actually doing so wasn't easy at all. This town wasn't that big, but checking all the streets and shops would take more than a day.
あれ何をしてるんだ
Oh, Levi. I might be in luck. After all, it was rare for us to meet so often like this. I was looking for someone. Did you two see him? He's a boy named Elric. He's about this tall and has 2 moles under his eye. Blonde hair, cheeky expression.
心当たりはないな。お前は？俺も。
I see. I guess it wouldn't be that easy.
つか、なんで男のガキなんて探してんだよ。
Just because. I couldn't tell them I needed to silence him from finding out that I was a woman. It almost sounds like you're about to kill him. Anyway, what are you two doing here?
見ての通り、町の見回りだよ。
Oh, Levon too? I had seen Levi patrolled because it was part of his job, but it was rare for Levon to join. Levon was busy as the heir to his clan, so Levi usually took care of it to give Levon some rest. But if I said that, Levi would get all bashful and deny it outright.
最近、自警団にも新しい人間が増えたからな。こいつだけに任せておくと、モラルが崩壊する。
Ain't that the truth?
なことねえって。やることはちゃんとやってるだろ。
Yeah, but you have a hot head too.
どうだかな。昨日は自警団の取りまとめ自らがファルジの跡取りに喧嘩を売っていたし。
あれはたまたまっつうわ。そうそう、その話聞いた時心臓飛び出るかと思いましたもん。
Out of nowhere, a man suddenly appeared.
でもファルジのやつに一泡吹かせてやれたんだろ。さすがだぜ。
え、レビさん勝ったんですか？ボコボコにやられたって聞きましたけど。はあ？その噂流したやつ誰だ？
そういう直情的なところから流れた噂だろうな。
A small crowd formed with lively conversation among its members. Are they all part of the vigilante group? The two brothers were close, but seeing them among their organization, I could tell that they were also well liked as leaders. The Wolf Clan was a bunch of good-natured people, so I felt comfortable being around them. But I still need to find Elric. Anyways, I need to get going now.
悪いな、力になれなくて。
エルリックだっけ？見かけたらこっちで捕まえとくからよ。
Alright, thanks. I waved to everyone and left. Ah, I see. Okay, I'm guessing. Ow! I totally just bit my tongue. Let's go up here, I guess. The back alley was where I chased him yesterday. They always return to the scene of the crime. This place would be the most likely area to find him. But then again, the place he actually stole from was the market.
動くな。
Oh, who's this? I heard a voice behind me. From the way he spoke, I sensed his intent to kill. He didn't even need to tell me not to move. To not move. I couldn't even if I wanted to.
貴様は昨日のと言ったか。
Is it the Hawk leader? No, he had a much deeper voice, didn't he? The next remark he made was just as cold, but the murderous intent seemed to be gone. I cautiously turned around to look. Lucas!
犯人は犯行現場に戻るというが、まさか貴様だったということはないだろうな。
I was thinking the same thing, but I had no idea what he was talking about. What are you talking about?
連続殺人の犯人がだ。
Serial killer? Lucas motioned with his chin toward the shadows of the alley. Were those bloodstains? I was so desperate chasing Elric yesterday that I didn't notice. Did I just not see it? Or did it happen last night? There was a grotesque splattering of blood all around. The stone walls were flushed with a dark color that couldn't even be called red. I started to smell the blood hanging in the air, and it was making me sick. Oof.
だからあれよ、あれ殺人事件。
That's what she was talking about.
とにかくたくさんよ。しかも全部黒い影の仕業なんですって。
So the leader of the Hawk clan? I think that's what you guys called the Black Shadow, right?
あそこに胸を刺された男の人が倒れていたって。
That's scary.
まったくよ。こうも働き手ばかり立て続けだと。
Was it the Black Shadow? Lucas didn't answer my mumblings and went over to check the bloodstains. Did a murder happen here too? That's a terrible way to die. No wonder people keep talking about the rumors.
噂だと。
Lucas stood up quickly and took a step toward me. His voice was filled with anger.
いえ、お前は何を聞いた？
He was much taller than I was, and looked down at me with glaring eyes. I couldn't help but be taken back. Lucas placed his hand over the sword on his belt.
それとも、やはり貴様が犯人か？
Really, dude? Do you really think a short shit like me would be able to do stuff like this? Hold on! I don't know what happened. I just heard that someone was killed. I tried to defend myself, or rather, I was just stating facts. Lucas locked his gaze on me, as if trying to see into my soul. His silence made me feel uncomfortable. After a while, he removed his hand from his sword and walked back to where the bloodstains were. What's going on? Is there something bothering you? Where are you going? Editor, edit that out. I didn't know what it was, but since he had already accused me of the crime, I should be able to ask at least that much. Lucas sighed, turning back around, his brow furrowed.
ファルジのやり方に不満を持つ者をその一族が殺しているという噂が立っている。先日の取り立てのような締め付けから湧いた噂だろう。くだらん。こういった話は当主の耳に入る前に潰しておく必要がある。父上の名を汚すような噂はなおさらな。
I take it your dad is actually going around killing people, and you know, you gotta bring the people to be hush hush from the truth. Otherwise, he'll just do even more and more. I mean, come on, man. Stop being a prick. This is for his father? Is that why he was so mad?
貴様が犯人でないならさっさとどこかへ行け。次に見かけたら問答無用で捕まえるぞ。
Wanna bet? Wait! Why are you doing this, Lucas? I was unwilling to back off. It would keep bothering me if I didn't ask. He doesn't have a voice for this. This was used in the crime. Ooh. Say it in Japanese next time, yeah? Lucas took something out of his pocket. This is... It was a knife. The handle bore a motif of a hawk feather. The blade looked clean, except for a bloodstain that had not been removed. Is this what the Black Shadow was using?
犯人はファルジの一族に罪をなすりつけようとしている。そうはか。
Oh, sorry. Which is why that knife was used?
あるいは裏をかいて本当にファルジの一族の犯行かもしれんがな。どちらにしろ誰をも疑ってかかるべきだろう。
He wrapped the knife in a piece of cloth and stuffed it back in his pocket.
これ以上邪魔をするな。消えろ。
Fine. Oh, Lucas.
まだ何かあるのか。
Thanks for telling me. See you later. Lucas didn't respond to that. He might have been mad at me for interfering. It would be best if I went elsewhere before he really got upset. I take it if I go up to this one right here with the M, that like continues forward with the story. so I'm gonna make sure that I clear all these up. So yeah, that's what I'm guessing. I don't know. So let's go to the tavern. The place to go to gather information was the tavern, but I'd never entered it alone. I didn't drink alcohol. You're probably too young to be drinking anyways. During the day, it was a diner that served regular food. I didn't have much reason at all to stay away from it, but I still did. I paced around while looking at the entrance from afar. Alright. I made up my mind and pushed open the entrance door. Ooh, nice little tavern. The inside was bigger than I thought. It was much cleaner than the seedy, lawless place I had imagined. But there were no customers at all. It was too late for lunch and too early to begin drinking. I was so nervous in the moments before, but it seemed I wouldn't be able to fulfill my main purpose in gathering information at all.
こんな時間に珍しいですな。
Huh? Oh, hello. I suddenly heard a voice and responded as I looked for its owner. The source of the voice was an old man at the counter. Despite his aged look, there was a composed sense of youth to him. He was beckoning me over. Did he want me to sit next to him? It would have been awkward to refuse, so I sat down next to him.
こんな時間に若い人がお一人でとは遅いお食事ですかな
No, I'm looking for someone. A blonde boy about this tall. Have you seen someone like that?
申し訳ありませんが
I thought so. I didn't expect too much, so I wasn't particularly disappointed. What about you, old man? What are you doing here alone? My business here was done, but it seemed rude to leave right away. I decided to have a little chit-chat. A little chat.
わしはもう楽隠居の身ですからな
Ah.
これでも若い頃は行商などをしておったんですが
A peddler. Meaning he's traveled outside the town. It was unheard of now, but when this old man was younger, there were exchanges between the town and the outside world.
おかげで今でも手元に珍しいものが残っておりましてな
Yeah, no kidding. I wonder what kind of goodies you got.
それを少しずつ売ってはこうして酒代にしておるわけで
I mean, you did your time, but don't overdo it, man. Liver failure and all that other bad stuff sucks. I envy you. It was an honest thought, given my daily work as a
自分
handyman.
では枯れた生き方じゃと思っていますがの品物もわしも古い骨董品ですわじゃがそれだけ思い出も詰まっておりますそうやここで知り合ったのも何かの縁これを差し上げましょう
Huh? What is it? Oh. You obtained the antique lope. Is it alright for me to have this?
ああ構いませんとももしまた必要になりましたらその時はお代を頂戴するということで
Oh, thank you. So it was just a sample. In that case, I felt alright accepting it. Thank you very much. If you'll please excuse me.
はいまたお会いしましょう近いうちに
Enjoy your evening, good sir. was sweet. Oh, Wolf Manor, huh? Yeah. I highly doubted he would be here, but I still came, just as I had the day before. He might have been a child, but he was still a thief. There was a chance he would try to steal from someone rich.
金髪で目の下に2つほくろのある子供？見ていないけど。
Ah, okay, I thought so.
と言っても、私はこの部屋から出ていないし、女中の子たちにも聞いておいた方がいいかしら。
No, it's alright. Thank you. I went to see her on a whim, so I didn't want to cause her any more trouble. I'm so sorry. You were in the middle of work, weren't you? Francisca had a stack of papers on the desk in front of her. I gave it a sidelong glance. It seemed most of them were requests from the townspeople, along with summaries on enacting those policies, their budgets, and any potential problems. Most of the latter were nothing but numbers, so I couldn't understand them simply by looking.
こっちこそごめんなさい。せっかくあなたの方から来てくれたのに、私の仕事の手が遅くて。
Oh, no, please, excuse my intrusion. I only wish I could help you. Even as she spoke, she definitely reviewed and organized her documents at the same time. She might look unreliable at times, but she was the lady of the Wolf Clan after all. The delay in her work could have been caused by my visit for dinner yesterday. But if I stopped coming because of that, I knew it would hurt her. It had been a constant dilemma of mine. Anyway, I'll be going now.
あら、まだ来たばかりでしょ？全然お話もしてないのに。
Aw, you really are such a sweetheart. I'm in the middle of my work too. I'll come by when I have some time.
本当に？
Oh shoot, looks like she's about to grab your ear. Really?
絶対よ、約束。
I promise. Yes, I definitely will. The way she is during these exchanges makes me feel like I'm talking to a younger sister. Church has been unlocked. One episode unlocked. Oh, nice. So where's the church? No, let's not go there. Wolf Manor, West Alley, Tavern, Hawk Manor, North Alley. Okay. So nothing else is available here, so let's continue. Just as I thought, I can't find him. I had expected this to some extent. I couldn't find Elric anywhere in town. The only place I hadn't looked was... That's right. Elric was rather reluctant to be brought to the church. I didn't know if he was there, but there might be clues that could help. I was at a point where I was grasping at straws. I decided to head to the church. It was a familiar place I had known since I was born. Looking back through the years, I remembered passing by it countless times, but for some reason, I never went inside. I wondered why. Could it have been that I never had a reason to? Well, I did today. I slowly opened the front door and stepped inside the church for the first time. Inside was quiet and solemn, and in the middle stood a tall man. He noticed me and gave me a gentle smile. "Oh, you are gorgeous." I don't recognize him, but then again, why would I? If he was a clergyman, then of course I wouldn't recognize him. He wasn't much older than I was, possibly in his 20s or 30s, though I was having difficulty telling his age from his face.
こんにちは。
Ah, konnichiwa. Good afternoon. Are you the priest here?
いや、違うよ。僕はただこの教会をお借りして暮らしているだけだから。
Ah, okay. Since when?
この町に来てすぐ、かれこれ10年くらい前かな。
That long ago? He had been living in this town for that long, but I had never seen his face before, and the town wasn't all that big to begin with. 10 years ago, were there still people moving here from the outside during that time? I couldn't remember.
それで何か用事かな？まさか僕のことを聞きに来たはずはないだろうし。
Oh, sorry. I'm looking for this boy named Elric. I had almost forgotten why I came in the first place. I used the boy's name in the hopes of gaining some kind of clue.
はあ、エルリックに用事だったんだね。それなら直接本人に話すといい。
He did return. That's good, and I'm glad that he's okay. Huh?
やっと来たんだ。やっぱり泥臭いんだね。
Oh boy, don't I miss you, little sassy brat. Huh? Huh? The boy and the rabbit peered at me from behind the man. And there he was, just as easily as it was difficult for me to track him down all day. Why are you here?
なんでも何も僕もここに住んでるんだけど。
But yesterday, you...
あんな時間に帰ったらロレンスに怒られるだろう。
I see.
まあ、今日帰ってきてからも怒られたけど。
Well, yeah, I mean, you were gone with no word or nothing to him. What were you doing out so late anyways? Lawrence? Who's Lawrence?
もしかしてエルリックが何か？
Oh, this guy. Come to think of it, I didn't ask for his name. I really needed to get a hold of myself.
差し支えなければ話してもらってもいいかな？
Chica, were you like completely bashed by his sheer beauty? You completely forgot to have any manners whatsoever. Yes, well, I tried to gather my thoughts as I explained what happened.
なるほど。泥棒の真似事を。エルリック？
He's just looking off to the side like, wait until I tell your secret too.
お説教ならもうお腹いっぱいだよ。
どうしてそんなことをするんだ？町の人にも迷惑をかけて。
別に理由なんてないよ。ただの暇つぶしだし。
Look at you! Why are you not caught on fire right now? With your cheeky little smile. In a church, mind you.
まったく君は。がいいかな？
Just call me Jeremiah.
それじゃあ、申し訳ない。思っていた以上に面倒に巻き込んだみたいで。ご覧の通りひねくれ者で、僕も手を焼いているんだ。
He looked so sorry about it that I was starting to pity him, too. Not at all. Anyway, Elric and Mr. Lawrence, was it? How are you two related?
僕もロレンスでいいよ。見た目はこんなだけど、心は若いままのつもりだから。
Okay, so no ma'am to you, huh? Monsieur. Oh, excuse me. I wanted to assume he was joking, but it wasn't very good. It wasn't a very good joke.
この子は教会で預かっている孤児なんだ。そして僕は前の神父からこの教会の管理を頼まれている。
I mean, your hair looks similar to his in a way. Just a little bit duller, darker, perhaps. But I would have thought that they were brothers or something, related cousins.
わかりやすく言うとそんなところかな。
Ah, I see. Ah. I wondered if that was really all there was to it. There was something about Lawrence that seemed different from other people.
ところで、君は便利屋の仕事をしているんだよね。
Yes, that is right. Yes, I mean, yeah. I had started to respond to him formally, but at his pointed look, I switched over to casual speech. he was about to flick you in the forehead. He was obviously older than I was, but being able to speak to him like this put me at ease.
タイミングがいいというと聞こえが悪いかもしれないけど、これも巡り合わせかもしれない。一つ仕事を頼まれてくれないかな。
What's up? A job? I didn't expect for him to immediately hire me for a job. Unless it was something really strange, I had no reason to refuse. Working these jobs was important to surviving here.
ちょうど1ヶ月後に謝肉祭がマスカレードがあることは知っているよね。
Oh, that, yes. Of course. There's no one in town who doesn't.
僕も知ってる。春を祝う祭りだろ。春なんて本の中でしか見たことないけど。
Elric was right. Things like blooming flowers were only seen in books. Our town was covered in snow with a spring that would never come. During the festival, it was tradition to hang decorative cloth with fruit or floral designs around the town. So what about the masquerade?
それが少し困っているんだ。今年は20年に一度の節目の年。教会でカレイドビアを展示することになっているんだけど。
Kaleido-via? I felt something stir in me when I heard that word. But I didn't know it. I didn't think I'd ever heard of it before.
知らなくても無理はない。前に展示されたのは君が生まれる前のことだからね。
How are you going to sit there and assume my age, good sir? Lawrence.
大切にしまわれていたし、僕も今まで見たことがなかったんだ。
Oh? So either you aren't even, you weren't old enough to see it before and remember it, or you came to this church a little bit later? Like you were 5 years old or something? I don't know. But I don't know. We'll have to find out. Oh, so what about this Kaleido-via?
消えてしまったんだ。
What? Gone?
そろそろ準備をしようと思って箱を開けてみたら何も入っていなかった。空っぽだったんだよ。
Ooh, you in trouble, boy? Hey, Elric, what did you do to it?
もちろん足が生えて勝手にどこかに行くはずはないからね。
Yeah, things don't grow legs and run off randomly.
誰かが持ち出したんだと思う。
He's looking at him! Yeah, Elric, where'd it go? Where'd you put it? Someone. Oh dear. Great minds think alike, huh? As I made my assumption, I turned my head towards the other person here.
僕じゃないよ。そんなもの隠したって面白くもなんともないし。
Well, I mean, granted, you're a little shit, let's be honest here. So you would do it just for shits and giggles. I wouldn't put it past you. Yeah, I guess. Sorry. I realized that it was rude of me, so I apologized.
ロレンスも真っ先に僕のこと疑ったし、ひどい話だよね。
Damn.
それはもう謝っただろ。他に心当たりもなかったし、仕方ないじゃないか。
Since he didn't know who else to suspect, he probably wanted me to look for it. Is this Kaleidovia valuable? In a monetary or artistic way?
どうなのかな。卵型の美しい置物とだけ聞いているけど、でもたとえそういった価値があったとしても、この町では意味がないんじゃないかな。売りさばいたりしたらすぐにわかるだろうし。
I see. What if it was taken outside of the town?
それが難しいことは君の方が詳しいんじゃないかい。
True. No one came in or out of the town. It wasn't that they couldn't, they just didn't. So the Kaleidovia was somewhere in town, and someone had it. But that information alone wasn't nearly enough to find it. What would happen if the Kaleidovia was really gone?
これは杞憂かもしれないけど、騒ぎの火種になってしまうかもしれない。
Oh, for... oh, no. A riot.
この町はずっと2つの一族がくすぶっている状態だろ。
Facts.
まるでお互いが争いの口実を探しているように僕には見える。その口実にカレイドビアが使われるかもしれない。
I don't think they're that bloodthirsty. I honestly thought it was a far reach.
カレイドビアには言われがあってね。僕もまた聞きだから詳しくは知らないんだけど、あれはかつてボルグとファルジの一族が力を合わせるための象徴として使われていたものらしいんだ。
I'm immediately going to point fingers and blame the clan of the Hawk for stealing this thing to start a riot. That's what I think. I may be wrong. We'll find out.
だからこの町の平和の象徴でもある。それが消えてしまった。
The symbol of cooperation, the symbol of peace. I didn't know this town even had anything like that. Lawrence's fear suddenly felt a lot more real to me. If it was a possibility, then there would be no harm in trying to prevent it. I knew that the people in the town didn't want any trouble.
どうだろう。難しい依頼だとは思うけど、報酬は祭りの予算で教会に充てられている中からこっそりこれだけ。
That much? I was shocked. Lawrence wrote a number on his palm to show me. It would take me years to make that much as a handyman. Earning a reward like that, I just might be able to leave town with it. It would be more than enough funds for the journey. I suddenly felt more motivated. There you go. I understand. I'll accept. But I can't guarantee I'll find it. There was no reason to refuse. I would just do what I could.
ありがとう。僕の方でも何か分かったらすぐに連絡する。
I know these voices from somewhere. Oh my goodness, it's driving me nuts.
それと エルリックを君の助手につけよう。
Yeah, sure. I can keep him silent on other means about what we figured out the last episode. If you don't know, then go ahead and go back and watch that old episode, that first one. Yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Huh?
Huh?
Huh? His unexpected suggestion had us all exclaiming in confusion. The first one to protest was the boy.
何勝手なこと言ってるんだ。彼にも町の人にも迷惑をかけたんだろう。だったら働いて返すのが当然だよ。
I like you. You're telling him straight out, just pay for your deeds.
そんなの知らないよ。なんで僕がそんなことを。調査の時はちゃんと彼の言うことを聞くこと。いいね。
いいね。His ominous smile reminded me of Francisca's. Are you guys related?
エルリックも納得してくれたようだし、それじゃあ改めてよろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。Sure. What's the pain that it can cause, eh? I'm home, Ashen Hawk. By the time I returned, it was completely dark out, but the tower had not been lit for the night. Could he have gone somewhere again? I wanted to ask him about the Kaleidovia, but I guess I can't. I immediately scrapped the thought. Ashen Hawk has said that he has amnesia. He wouldn't know anything about something on display 20 years ago. Not only that, but even if he did have these memories, I doubted I would get a straight answer from him anyway. The search for the Kaleidovia. I accepted this job in the heat of the moment, but now comes the challenge of actually finding it. What would happen if the Kaleidovia was really gone?
これは杞憂かもしれないけど、騒ぎの火種になってしまうかもしれない。
We don't want a riot. They'll definitely find me out then.
どうしてみんな仲良くできないのかしら。
You want to have peace within the townspeople and the clans, sure. But that is why I'm suspecting the Hawk clan, whoever within there, to be the culprits of stealing said egg. I think, because they just seem to want to torture and all that good stuff, bad stuff, I mean. Whoops.
ボルグの一族だ、ファルジの一族だって、そんなのどうでもいいことなのに。
The Kaleidovia, the symbol of peace between the two clans. The success of the masquerade hinged upon the Kaleidovia being there. I was sure it would bear an effect on the relationship between the two clans. If the masquerade went well, it could bring the two clans closer. That might be an idealistic thought, but it was still possible. The wolf and the hawk cooperating. Francisca would like that too. I needed to work hard on this first thing in the morning. With that thought in mind, I climbed into bed a little earlier than usual. I closed my eyes and slowly started to see a fire. Bright red flames that burned everything around it. The Kaleidovia had been found, and the Masquerade Festival was a success. If things went well and the wolf and the hawk were able to cooperate, if that time came, I would leave town. A sense of resolve in my heart, I fell into a deep sleep. Ooh, story time.
昔々あるところに2つの種族に分かれた獣たちが暮らしていました。獣たちはとても仲が悪く、互いの姿を見つけてはいつも殺し合っていました。そんなある日、一匹の獣は一人の女と出会います。女は獣へ尋ねます。どうして憎み合っているのかと。獣は女に答えます。私たちの本能がそうさせるのだと。女は悲しそうに言いました。あなたたちが殺し合えば、それは終わりのない連鎖となるでしょう。あなたたちの子供、そのまた子供、果てはあなたの次の魂まで。その争いと悲しみの連鎖は途切れることはありません。
Clear chapter 1. Okay, I think this is a good of any spot to end this episode. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit the like button. Subscribe to continue reading alongside with me on this most epic adventure. A journey. Yes. Anyways, again, thank you very much for joining me, and I do hope and wish you well. Have a good night, good morning, good afternoon. We'll see you again. See ya. Bye. Yes.